Look how they mess with my boy.
Greetings, fellow mortals. Just a reminder saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. Around last Halloween into early November, my wife was in a weird particular mood. She wanted spooky yet Christmas stuff, and unfortunately we can only watch The Nightmare Before Christmas so many times.
Over and over and over and over.
Okay, Clay, I get the point.
No, you don't!
So I suggested the only other thing that I could think of for that particular craving and mood, Harry Potter. But having watched the movies so many different times, I thought about it for a moment and suggested something different. Instead of watching the movies as we come down at the end of a long day, why don't we just listen to the audiobooks? I had a bunch of Audible credits saved up, and it sounded like a nice way to spend the evenings. But one thing that I did dread was the portrayal of Ron Weasley. You see, I had not read the Harry Potter books since I was a kid. I have definitely seen the movies more, a lot more, because, you know, they were kids' books. As such, the events of the films stick out to me more significantly than the books do. And this includes the character portrayals, with Ron being my least favorite main character from the cinema version by far. I assumed that it would be the exact same when going through the books. So you can imagine my surprise when I discovered that the different versions of the character couldn't be, well, more different.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
To make this more understandable, let's take a look at who this character exactly is. Ron Weasley is the youngest son of Arthur and Molly Weasley, along with being their youngest child overall. Ron is a person with a strong sense of morality and justice, but added with a quick temper, this leads to him getting into significant amounts of trouble. It's also not helped by his inferiority complex. All of his other brothers are absolutely brilliant individuals, 2 being head boys, 1 being a Quidditch captain, and 2 being Fred and George, who literally make new creative magical items consistently. Not only this, it's hinted that his mother has a very strong attachment to Ginny as the only daughter, which makes sense considering that they're outnumbered 7-2 in that house.
You think you are ever borrowing my car again? You are sadly mistaken. And I saw that tattoo, Jimmy. I'm telling your mother.
But because of this, Ron feels as though he is the least loved and appreciated member of his family, and that he is also the least talented and important, which obviously is not true, but this is a fundamental lie that he keeps telling himself to the point that he believes it deep in his heart. And despite all of this, he still loves hard and has a strong sense of bravery and loyalty, a lot more than most at least, especially to his family and eventually to his closest friends.
Damn you, rock'em sock'em robots! Can't we all just get along?
And that's where Harry Potter himself comes into the picture. Harry is, in fact, the first person in Ron's life who thinks that he is the coolest, funniest, and best person to be around. From the very start, Harry chooses Ron over everyone else, leading to their strong friendship at the very beginning of the series. Ron is with Harry through thick and thin through the first 3 books without question or hesitation. Yes, then there's the later stuff, but we will get to that.
No. Wait.
This leads to Ron being Harry's greatest influence in both the good and bad ways. Harry had no friends or any experiences with fun before Hogwarts. Ron brings real joy to Harry's life, making him laugh constantly, and Harry is desperate for this because he never had it. He never really had a spark of joy in his life because of the Dursleys. So he's not always at the top of his game when it comes to studying because of this, which leads to direct conflict with his other best friend. Oddly enough, Hermione is the reason that movie Ron isn't nearly as good as book Ron, and here's why. The films diminished her flaws while giving her Ron's greatest strength at the beginning of the series. Hermione in the books is a know-it-all who could be rather annoying with the way that she shoves herself into situations and nags people. At the same time, Ron is a bit of a hothead with a sharp tongue, even if he's actually pretty funny.
That actually is pretty funny.
funny!
What I mean by taking Ron's strengths and contributions is that he's the story's anchor and liaison for the magical world. He was born and raised in this culture. Everything is natural to him. While both Harry and Hermione come from the mundane world, Ron knows and understands the basics of living with magic, from house elves to magical slurs, which is why in the book he gets upset and explains what mudblood means, while in the movie Hermione gets this honor, even though she realistically shouldn't know about this in her second year, just like she shouldn't be able to repair Harry's glasses on the train at the very beginning because she hasn't had a chance to cast real spells yet, and you know she's not breaking that no magic outside of Hogwarts rule.
Does that make sense? Ladies and gentlemen, I am not making any sense. None of this makes sense.
Part of Ron's utility in the series at the beginning is to be there to explain just how things work, not in a technical sense, but in a cultural and societal sense. By cutting this and by taking out the random whimsy and fun of just existing in the magical world on a random day, which is far more prevalent in the books, you take away from Ron's character, which, you know, this part is kind of understandable. These are movies after all. They don't have the time to go into great detail about the whimsy of the Christmas feast at Hogwarts. The films take the practicality and utility role away from Ron in every instance though, leaving him mostly in the role of comic relief, which, to be fair, his actor did really well with that role.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
The problem was that Rupert Grint did too well of a job in this instance, leading to Ron becoming consistently the butt of the joke many different times, where in the books it was kind of the opposite, where his quips are more at the expense of other people, sometimes to the point of crossing a line. Even Luna admits that he's funny, even if his humor can be unkind at times.
That's not funny. That's not...
Which makes sense. He grew up with Fred and George of all people. You don't think that he had to build up that type of humor in order to fight them off, because you see, almost all of Ron's strengths and weaknesses as a human being make perfect sense if you look at his life, even his lack of being interested in studying magic religiously. From our perspective, it is the coolest thing imaginable. From Ron's perspective, he's learning to do what his parents have done for 11 years. It's basically he is going to school to understand plumbing and electricity.
You've seen this before? 11 times, as a matter of fact.
The wonder and awe of magic is kind of lost when it's as prevalent as the internet is today, and we take that for granted for sure. And this bleeds a bit into Harry, who is mostly excited about the idea of having any sort of actual childhood where he is allowed to enjoy things. So while most of us would be like Hermione in terms of excitement about learning and studying magic, Ron treating everything as normal makes sense, because this is normal everyday life to him.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
While the books are far from perfect, they are still children's books after all. They do a good job of making you understand exactly who Ron Weasley is. In fact, I could argue that from book to book, Ron has the most consistent character growth and development in the series, because let's face it, Harry really doesn't change much from good person fighting against evil wizard from book 1 all the way up until the end of book 7.
I think they're just like that. I think they're just good guys.
And Hermione's growth was completely taken out of the movies. She flinched at Voldemort's name at the beginning of the series because people told her to for like 5 minutes. She obviously trusted authority far too much and didn't believe anything not in a book, and was easily impressionable, obviously, but this changed in later books, unlike in the movies where she's almost flawless all the time. And yes, that's a problem because it's boring.
Boring.
With the limited time in the movies, there was far less time to flesh out Ron's personality, past, and development. That, along with taking away his utility role and making him pure comedy relief in the films many different times, it led to him being a rather flat and boring character. Once again, I'm not taking anything away from the actor. This was how the person in charge, a noticeable Hermione superfan, directed the actor to act. Wait, this almost makes sense.
Take a look at this.
Jesus
Christ,
That
Charlie.
right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay?
This, of course, is not to say that I dislike Hermione's character. Taking Ron's utility role and removing her flaws actively hurts her as a character, just like it hurt Ron. That is the Ron Weasley problem in a nutshell. Because so much was taken away from Ron in the films, I outright forgot that Ron kind of acts more like the main character than Harry does at times.
I can explain.
Not in terms of importance, obviously, it's still called Harry Potter, but in terms of development, Harry Potter is fundamentally a static character, which means that his fundamental personality, beliefs, viewpoints, etc. remain unchanged through the course of his story. In a static character arc, the main character's beliefs are challenged and reinforced as being right by the end. Think Superman and Captain America.
But sometimes being brave means using your head and not doing something dangerous just because other kids pressure you.
Now, static characters aren't necessarily a bad thing, but there does need to be character development in some form in the vast majority of stories. And Ron Weasley ultimately has the closest thing to a hero's journey throughout the series, where he's pulled into a call for adventure, ignores it, and is forced into it, travels, becomes better, faces the greatest of lows, overcomes his greatest weakness, succeeds, and returns forever changed. Now, this doesn't exactly happen in this exact way, but Ron is the closest thing to this form of character development in the franchise.
I can explain.
Through his connection to Harry, Ron is pulled into dangerous situations year after year. He faces the threats loyally and without second guessing for the most part, even when he's absolutely terrified at his greatest fear. At an early stage, he's proven to have a brilliant strategic mind and loads of potential to think creatively. Just look at the chess game in the first book. I suck at chess, and I cannot imagine going against something made by a smart woman like McGonagall while not being able to sacrifice two of my pieces, a bishop and a rook of all pieces. I can promise you that you probably would fail too.
Impressive. Very nice.
Ron gets better control over his temper just a little bit in the second year, but comes to blows with Hermione often in the third year when Scabbers, who is a member of his family at the time, is threatened. And Crookshanks technically did want to kill Scabbers, so Ron was right. It was just that Scabbers was Peter Pettigrew, meaning that Ron was sleeping with a grown-ass man right next to his head every single night of his childhood. And this trauma, loss, and confusion caused by the realization that his pet was a weird, creepy man in year 3 leads into year 4, where he thought that Harry might have put his own name in the Goblet of Fire. In the movies, Ron was a complete and utter asshole, but in the books, it happened much differently, with Ron just questioning things and feeling a little bit doubtful, almost like a fundamental truth had been shattered a few years prior in his life, and he was feeling isolated, betrayed, and questioning everything around him, even the things that he knows to be true.
Oh, I made myself sad.
In this circumstance, Harry was the one who escalated the fight because he was so upset about what was happening. It is far more mutual in the books, where both of them are having problems and just need to talk it out. And Ron did learn from this event in the next book, where Harry was constantly angry, and Ron just kind of took it almost all the time because he understood where Harry was coming from at this point, and he wanted to be supportive with his best friend.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you.
At the same time, Ron's insecurities reach critical mass as Harry accomplishes more and more out of raw necessity, and his family members succeed. Ron's sense of confidence in himself repeatedly shatters, even though it's shown through Quidditch that he can accomplish anything he wants to if he sets his mind to it and has confidence in himself. But this proves to be harder as his role as the cultural liaison becomes obsolete as his friends adapt to the magical world.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, welcome to the club, pal.
And this reaches the breaking point in the 7th book. For the most part, Ron is stuck without anything really to do or to contribute. He's spiraling from missing his family and worrying about their safety. Meanwhile, the Locket Horcrux is constantly whispering at the back of his mind, feeding his jealousy and inadequacy until he reaches critical mass and explodes and leaves in a storm.
Nope, 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 never again. Nope, no thanks, thank you, nope, nope.
This is his darkest moment, allowing all of the hurt, abandonment, wondering if he's actually worthy of love, and sense of self-doubt about his worthiness at all as a human being comes to the light, even more than with his relationship with Lavender, which is more portrayed as his fear of being unlovable and a loser taking hold of him in the books compared to the weirdness of the movies.
That is one big pile.
But with the help of Dumbledore's lighter, Ron returns and faces all of his dark thoughts and literally slays them, finally overcoming the lies that he had been feeding himself throughout his childhood, right in time for him to finally use his cunning, strategic brain during the last few trials and realize how little wealth, political sway, and fame mean in the face of losing a brother. All wrapping up in the epilogue where he reaches his full potential and has a loving family of his own. It's not Shakespeare or anything, but there's no denying that the character arc was much better done in the books compared to the movies. A character development arc which lasted the full series, more than any other character, from Hermione or Snape or even Percy. Ron had the most growth and development.
Well, hang on, you've just...
No, I like it. This is brilliant. But I like this.
That is the Ron Weasley problem. J.K. Rowling described him as the ultimate best friend, and that's what he is in the books. The ultimate best friend who just so happens to be a very insecure, angry teenager who was facing his worst fears and dangers beyond our comprehension. He's a flawed human being, but aren't we all? The book version of him is so much better that it's kind of embarrassing in retrospect.
Don't say it. Don't you say it. Left. Come on!
That's the issue with tearing down one character in order to make another character better. It never works out for either character. It makes them both worse. But putting in the work into making flawed yet relatable, understandable, and lovable characters is much more meaningful than a perfect caricature or a comic relief sidekick. This is by far the biggest flaw in the films, one of which I wish would be fixed in the show, but we live in the year of our Lord 2026, so I highly doubt this is going to happen.
Well, this sucks.
Is Ron Weasley my absolute favorite character in the franchise? No, not at all. Luna, Mad-Eye, Hagrid, Sirius, and many others are still above him, but it kind of sucks that the films Flanderized him so much. Based off of Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, Flanderization is the process through which a fictional character's essential traits are oversimplified and exaggerated to the point where they become a caricature of themselves over the course of a serial work.
Come on, you're not gonna make me partner up with him, are you? Hey, shh, don't be rude. Hey, buddy, hey, it's okay.
This Flanderization tainted my memory of him for a long time. Kind of like if you go back and watch the old episodes of The Simpsons, you see what the character was always meant to be, and it's significantly better than the hollow shell of what the character has become.
This is worthless.
It's less than worthless, my boy.
And becoming a hollow shell is a steady problem that has grown in different adaptations and works in general. From books, comic books, and games, characters are literally not the same between the adaptations to the point that you can barely see the resemblance anymore. It's the Ron Weasley problem, and it's tainted everything. Instead of tearing down one character in a desperate attempt to make another seem better, perhaps we can just make two amazing characters who are equal and good in their own unique ways.
This is quite a shock. On the other hand, it's not surprising in the least.
But that's just me. After all, these are children's books / movies that I'm talking about. I just noticed where this trend seemed to originally begin, and it's pretty sad. There's still decent adaptations overall, but the Ron Weasley problem has grown into something that is actively hurting more and more adaptations and original works right now. Deeper dives into a character should make you appreciate them more as human beings instead of feeling disappointed by what could have been.
Disappointed!
This is a trend that needs to change if we're going to have anything new that's beloved or any good adaptations going forward. But what do you think of the Ron Weasley problem? Do you see it the same way that I do? Which version do you like more? Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, if you disagree with everything I have to say, that is perfectly fine. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
Oh, I forgot how bad it looks.
I've seen worse.
Thank you all so much for watching.
You're still here?
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. You bye. Boom.
Do not despair.